Hello, everyone out there in the void. Baby Rizzo's back again, and yeah, it's been a little while. I kind of bumped into a bit of a conundrum for reviewing my current movie. And that is, well, it's a movie so talked about, and, well, most of the opinion on it's fairly universal that it's kind of hard to find additional things to say about it. And so, but still, cracked open the collection, watched Alien. It's a classic, and rarely has been a sci-fi horror as well received as Alien. So, what do I even say about it? Other than, yep, it's 5 stars. 5 MacGuffins. We're good. Bye-bye, everybody. Good night. But I don't want to say that. I want to talk a little bit about it. But that's still what hasn't been said about it. Well, let's just go over the plot, assuming you don't know it. Most people know it. Then, I guess we'll go from there and talk about a few things that I like about it, and actually maybe get a little nitpicky, just because for the sake of being nitpicky. Well, Alien, 1979. So, a group of essentially space truckers. Really, if you boil them down, that's what they are. They're doing they're like a towing vessel that's bringing in a payload and cargo. They were woken from their hypersleep well earlier than they should have been after receiving a distress call from a uncharted planet. Now, part of the crew just wants to just shrug it off and bypass it, but they learn that if they fail to investigate signs of possible alien life, they forfeit all their shares and have to go. And forfeit all their shares, so they have to go. Yeah. So, these are your blue-collar workers of the sci-fi world, which is something I do enjoy about the movie. Back in the time, like with your Star Treks and whatnot, a lot of sci-fi things are Star Trek, Event Horizon, Pandorum. It's your people who are specially trained for special space missions. These guys just seem to be your blue-collar workers just trying to get their paycheck as they just ferry stuff across the galaxy. So, they work well as the everyman rather than everyone being an expert in science. Yeah, they have their science officer, but most of them are like, okay, roll up my sleeves, let's get this over with so we can go home and get paid. And that's refreshing, I think. You don't get that as often. I mean, every once in a while you'll get something to that effect, but it's kind of nice to see. Anyway, they land down on the planet, and, well, most people know what happens. They come up, then the character of Kane, played by John Hurt, comes across a slew of strange eggs, and one pops open and face rapes him. After bringing him back on board the ship, with a creature still attached to his face, they put him under observation, and after a while, he seems to recover just fine and the creature falls off dead. Until he gets a very severe case of indigestion, and boom, out pops an alien. Which the crew at first is concerned and sorry to see their friend die, but are just like, okay, it's small and, well, dangerous, we can probably handle it. Until they find out it has grown and is now slinking through the vents, picking them off one by one. Now, they have to deal with this. Okay, so, what works? The effects, for most of the movie, still hold up quite well, particularly with regards to the alien and the alien spacecraft that the eggs were found upon. Most of the acting is quite well done. There's an exception here or there and some awkward line reads, but for the most part, particularly Sigourney Weaver, Captain Dallas, and the science officer. Why is Ash? His name was escaping me for a second there. All do hold it up very well. And particularly the mechanic crew of Brett and Parker. They are very entertaining. Let's see. Pacing and the tension building, very well done. And just the atmosphere in general, particularly as the reveals for what's going on come, it all holds up very, very well. As well as just the camaraderie the characters have. Just when they're first coming out of hyperspace, you spend some time with them just as they are eating breakfast and just the bullshitting back and forth. It's clear these characters have worked together for a while and they know each other and know how to give each other a hard time. It's that camaraderie that really makes it when the horror starts, you start feeling for them. Alright, let's nitpick. Oh, before I nitpick, actually also the opening title of it just slowly fading into the title Alien. Still beautiful. Okay, alright, nitpicks. Alright, so first off, I guess, and I only noticed this really after repeat viewings, is how little the actual alien is in it. I mean, a good chunk of it is dealing with the face hugger, but the actual creature has very little screen time. Which does work, but you start to notice it a little bit more and more. It's more the looming threat of the alien than actually seeing it on screen. And I know that usually the less is more for such things, but I would like to have seen it just menacing a little bit more. Like I said, these are pretty minor nitpicks. Second, effects that don't quite hold up as well. Now, Ash is revealed to be a robot at one point. And that actually works well. Up until they reactivate the head. Some of the dodgy effects there as they shift between his obviously fake head and getting the actor's head just stuck through a table. It doesn't look the greatest, but it's only noticeable if you're kind of looking for it. Overall, it's done alright, but that affects a little bit. And again, some of the alien effects are clearly dated. I mean, the facehugger itself works quite well. But when the alien's doing its thing, there's a couple points where it just seems to move a bit oddly, or look a little weird. Particularly since this is before a lot of the franchise was established, so what this creature actually was about wasn't fully fleshed out. So when the creature's moving through the vents, which was a very tense scene, and it ends with a bit of a jump scare, if you actually see what it looks like, it's just the alien just going... It's like a give me a hug kind of pose, which looks a little funny if you're either paused this frame there, or have seen it enough times where it's not so jarring. Also, when the alien is fully going after the crew, it has some very weird slow movements, particularly, I mean, when it kills one crew member off very quickly, and then it's just kind of standing there going like this for a moment while its tail kind of slinks around and does things. It just looks like it's a weird look. Also, when the alien is dangling at the end of the thing, it clearly looks like just a stock figure there for a moment before it starts crawling around again, but it looks unnaturally stiff and still. But that's only small little points. 90% of its thing still works. What else was I gonna say? Lambert. Now, the character of Lambert, I do. But the actress playing her has some awkward reads. I mean, she has some great lines, and some of them work. I like great things. I quote that. I still quote that, and I've been doing that for years. But some of her, oh my gods, just seem like you could have gotten another take on. And at first, I thought it was just me being, then hearing it weird for the first one, but there's a couple points, and it's only really her. I mean, the actress herself does a good job of, particularly facial expressions and looking a bit traumatized for Veronica Cartwright was the one playing her, but some of the lines just sound strange. Oh, I'm trying to think if there was anything else to that regard. I kind of put off reviewing this one for like 2 or 3 days while I was thinking about what I was actually going to say, because it's Alien. I love Alien. But everyone knows it, so I just didn't want to be a broken record of it. Yes, Alien, very good. But I think that's about all on this one. Highly recommend it. It's one of my favorites. It's always going to be one of my favorites. 5 MacGuffins, easily. Check it out. If you haven't seen it, give the original a chance. I know the sequels kind of are up and down. I have soft spots for most of them. But if you haven't seen the original, it's one of the best. Have a good night.